The Queen of Shadows and her secret army, a war widow, seeks revenge for her slain husband, but soon finds herself in a position where she has to make an impossible choice: exact her revenge or save her people. Can she do both? She's feared by those who would defy her and worshipped like a goddess by her loyal followers. But beneath her dark exterior, she is hiding something. As the daughter of a minor noble, she was betrothed to the dashing Prince Caius, the heir to the throne of Scadrial. She manages to avoid the guards and sneak past the king's son, Prince Orion, who is too busy flirting with one of the handmaidens to notice anything. But as she moves further into the palace, she hears voices coming from a room ahead. Curiosity piqued, she peeks around the corner and sees two men, Prince Cyrus and Prince Orion, arguing violently. She steps out from behind the pillar and walks calmly toward the door as if she'd been summoned. The door closes behind her and she turns to face the astonished princes. The entire royal court will be there, including the king's two sons, both of whom are old enough now to rule the kingdom. It must have leaked from somewhere in the scabbard while she was carrying it. Now that the sword is destroyed, she uses this dagger as a placeholder, a symbol of her late husband. Black ichor pours out of the wand, staining the white fabric of his shirt. But before she can deliver the killing blow, Prince Cyrus knocks her sword away. Isolde needs to kill the king and one of his heirs in order for the treaty to be voided and for her to reclaim her lands. She lunges forward and stabs him in the side. But as she does, she hears a voice. "You have killed my brother. Now I challenge you to a duel." But she doesn't lower her blade from Cyrus's chest. "I didn't kill your brother. He's still alive. But you're next. I challenge you to a duel. You can have my brother's life if you can defeat me. If father had a son who could actually fight, he would choose me over you." So she accepts the challenge. They circle each other, swords raised. But after a few moments, Cyrus lunges. But she feels no pain. And that's when she realizes that Caius isn't bound to her anymore. Then she turned to the remaining prince and ripped the sword from his chest. In her grief, she'd forgotten that spirits could be injured too. When she had reached for her sword, some of the black ichor had splashed onto her hands. And when she touched herself, she realized that it was healing her wounds. He's strong and fast, and Isolde can tell that he would make a good king someday. But she's fought better. She blocks his attack and counters with one of her own. This time, it's Cyrus who stumbles backward. His eyes widen in surprise as Isolde presses her attack. She wants to end this quickly, but Cyrus is a worthy opponent and manages to hold her off for several minutes. But she knows that if she strikes down the king, the nobles in attendance will rally behind his surviving son and fight to the death to protect him. She had known that the king had another son, but he'd been sent away to a military academy years ago. Surely he wasn't still alive. Suddenly, the door opens and Isolde ducks behind a pillar just as Prince Cyrus exits. She lets out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. She has to kill both of these princes, but how can she do that without starting a war? All her life, Isolde has known only two things: loss and vengeance. Queen Isolde of Scadrial is known throughout the land as the Queen of Shadows. Her story started out like a fairy tale. But slowly, people stopped talking about Caius. It was almost as if they were ashamed of their fallen prince. So Isolde did what no one else could. She went to the battlefield and found his body. Only then did she learn the truth. Caius hadn't died valiantly in battle. Then she threw her father's ring into a volcano, renouncing her title as princess and declaring herself the Queen of Shadows. Over the next 5 years, she raised an army, enlisting the help of anyone who had lost someone in the war and wanted revenge against the king of Aloria. At first, her father tried to stop her, but when she proved that she had enough support to overthrow him, he changed his mind and offered her a deal. And the cowardly king of Scadrial had agreed to these terms, which led Isolde to hate not only the rival king, but her own father, who had sent her beloved husband to his death. She kept his body and performed a ritual that brought him back as a spirit bound to her. And so she left the kingdom, disappearing into the shadows with her spectral warrior and her 50,000 elite soldiers. Now, years later, Isolde stands poised to strike. So instead, she makes a plan. She will strike down both of the king's sons. "You think you're so great because you have mother's blessing," says Prince Cyrus, "but without father's protection, you're nothing." "And you're just jealous that I'm the favorite," retorts Prince Orion. Isolde hides, shocked to hear that there are actually two princes, not just one. Then she has an idea. "Who are you?" asks Prince Orion. "My name is Lyra," she replies, "and I am here to take your lives." The princes laugh, but when Isolde raises her hand, they see that she's holding a dagger that's dripping with black ichor, the substance that Caius's sword had dripped when he was still alive. "Are you crazy?" asks Prince Cyrus. "Do you really think you can kill us?" But before Isolde can answer, Prince Orion attacks. He lunges at her with his sword, but she dodges easily and stabs him right in the chest. "Stop," he says, stepping in front of his brother's body. And Isolde knows that if she refuses, the other prince will recover and hunt her down anyway. Finally, though, he makes a mistake. He leaves himself open and she takes advantage of it. "Mother," cries Prince Orion, staggering out of his chair. Isolde looks up to see Prince Orion approaching, his sword drawn. "No," she says, her voice flat. "You misunderstand." Orion gasps and stumbles back. His sword falls to the floor with a clatter. "How can you still be standing?" he stammers. "You've been wounded." Isolde looks down to see that her leather armor is torn and that blood is soaking her tunic. Isolde wasted no time delivering the final blow. She ran through Orion like lightning, ending his life before he could even blink. "Now," she said, her voice echoing through the room. "Who wants to see the Queen of Shadows rule?"